Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Mariah and this is Woolen Words. Today I wanted to share with you some patterns that I cannot wait to knit. So grab a drink or a knit project, whatever you're working on, and join me as I talk about these patterns that I cannot wait to start. So as much as I'm enjoying my coffee, I think I'm gonna set this down for just a second so I can really explain these patterns to you. And I have some notes. I wrote down a bunch of information about the patterns so that you can make an informed decision on whether or not you want to knit these as well. And of course, I will try and put pictures of the patterns on the screen while I'm talking about them so you can see all the different beautiful photos that there are of these patterns. Now I will say a lot of these are actually, I think all of these are tops. Some of them are sweaters, some of them are cardigans, and some are more suited for maybe summertime or like light blouses. But none of these are like summer specific or anything like that. These are just things that I have been dying to make ever since I came across them. So let's go ahead and get started. Now the first one that I want to talk about, I have been dying to make this ever since I first laid eyes on this pattern, and I cannot wait to get started on it. And this is the Darjeeling top. Now this is a pattern by Trust the Mojo. This pattern comes in sizes extra small to 4XL, and it is a sport weight pattern with a gauge of 22 stitches and 4 inches in stockinette. This is worked bottom up and flat knitting, which is something that I am thankfully familiar with the one sweater that I've made, the hummingbird sweater. This pattern uses 3.5mm and 4.5mm needles, and the original recommended yarn is a cotton cashmere, which I think would be beautiful and such a luxurious yarn. But I think any light drapey yarn would really work well. This is a $9 pattern, and I cannot say this enough. I love everything about this. I love the detail around the hem. I think it's beautiful and just enough to make it interesting and give it a little something, but it's such a simple piece other than that. So it's really, I think you can just use it in a lot of different ways. And I could just imagine wearing this over a dress or with a skirt. And of course you could totally wear it with like some shorts for the summer or even jeans for maybe more spring outfit. And I love the buttons. I don't know what it is about buttons, but I find them so like dainty and feminine, and I love a good button up. For the second item on my list, I have the Dipped Arms cardigan by Katrin Schneider. Katrin Schneider? I'm sorry if I mispronounce anything on this. I genuinely don't know. We need to have like pronunciation guides on Ravelry. But this pattern comes in extra extra small to extra extra large. It is a fingering weight pattern with the gauge being 24 stitches in 4 inches in stockinette. And it is worked top down in panels, of course, because it's a cardigan, and it's an open front cardigan, so there aren't any like buttons or zippers you have to worry about. But that is what drew me to this, because I used to have a little super lightweight cardigan, and I wore that every single day for so many years. I loved it. It was a really thin fabric, and it had pockets on the corners like this one does. I think this would be a really good replacement for that cardigan for me. It uses 3.5mm, 3mm, and 2.75mm needles. It is a $7 pattern, and the original used merino, but I think I might substitute for a lighter yarn. Where we live in Texas, it just doesn't get very cold, and I would be scared to make something like a jacket out of merino and then it be too hot and I never get to wear it. So I think I might go for some sort of blend even, or maybe even just like a straight cotton or something. And then also something about this pattern, you can make it in different lengths. So you can do just a normal, like hip or waist length cardigan, but then you can make like the long version. And I think I would want the long version. I love the length of it, and I love the pockets on this pattern. I think they are so fun, and I've never knit my own pockets before, so I think that would be just a really good detail to add to a cardigan. And of course, who doesn't love pockets on everything they wear? And then of course, the color work or the color blend, the way that they did the arms, which is why it's called the dipped arms cardigan. I think it is just such a cool touch. And I love that. I think you could really have a lot of fun with that, and depending on the yarns that you choose, it could really stand out and be very bold, or you could make it, keep it very neutral and still have that effect, but with more muted or more earth tones or something like that. I think it would be really cool to do it either way. So moving on to the third one on the list, this is a pattern that you might recognize. I feel like this has been kind of everywhere. At least at one point or another, but it is the Sea Salt Tee by Atelier Castine, and it comes in 9 sizes. It is a light fingering held together or a sport weight pattern, and the gauge for this is 25 stitches in 4 inches in stockinette, and it's worked top down with set-in sleeves. I don't think I really know what set-in sleeves are. Maybe I should have looked that up before I filmed this, but I have not had a lot of garment construction experience, so all of these will be pretty much new to me, and I'm really excited to work with them. But this uses 3.5mm and 3mm needles, and it is a $7 pattern, and the original recommended yarn was a cotton linen or a wool cotton blend. I think that is the perfect yarn for this, because I think the idea of this t-shirt is to have like a staple basic in your wardrobe, you know, just something you can always wear, and t-shirts are just such a classic look for that. For me, I like t-shirts with a little bit of structure. I don't want them to be super drapey or super oversized. I think that's really nice to have like a good strong t-shirt. But this pattern in particular, I love the crop. I think it's the perfect length. I think the sleeves are such a good design or shape. I love the way that it lays, and I love the contrasting hem that they did. I think it's so fun and interesting, and it just adds a little extra touch to it. And this is something that I always look for in a t-shirt, because I don't like when the sleeves are too long on me. I think it just doesn't work with my shoulders or my arms. I really love this pattern, and I'm excited to make it. So hopefully soon I can get to this. The next one is a little bit different. I'm venturing out a little bit into a more feminine world, but this is the Bubble Button Blouse by Nina Ruth. This is a gorgeous pattern, and I love it. It comes in sizes extra small to extra large. It is a DK weight pattern, and the gauge is 22 stitches in 4 inches in stockinette. It is worked top down raglan style. Again, I've never done that, but it's a very popular style of making tops, so I'm very curious to try it. It is worked in 4mm needles. They used a cotton. I think a cotton would work really well, or even those made from plants but they're still synthetic, like lyocell or viscose or rayon from bamboo, like that kind of thing would work really well for this, because it would give you that soft drapey fabric that you're looking for, especially with something that's as loose fitting as this. I really love that effect, and I think it would work really well. It is an $8 pattern, and again, I love the buttons. I'm a sucker for some buttons. I actually am not sure if these are like functioning buttons or if it's just for the look. Need to look that up. But the flowy fabric, the slight puff sleeves that just add this little detail, and I think it really adds a cohesive look over the entire blouse. It just looks so effortless and chic and elegant, and I am all about that. This is also a new neckline for me that I've never tried, but I think I would be interested in it. I think I would really like it, because it's just like a rounded neckline, but it has all of that fabric like cinched at the top, and I just think that would look really elegant on a lot of people. I'm really excited to try it. And the color that they chose for this is just gorgeous in this top. I love that cooler green-blue color, and I really would love to find something similar to that, I think. So the next one on my list is something that I am excited to talk about and share with you. because I think that this would just be fun to knit. I think it would be interesting to knit. It is the Faye Summer Top by Irene Lynn, and it comes in 5 sizes, and it is a DK weight pattern with the gauge of 21 stitches in 4 inches in stockinette. It's worked top down. You knit the front and the back, and then you join them in the round. This pattern uses 4.5mm and 4mm needles, and they used a merino linen blend, and I think that would be really great, but I also think any plant fiber would work really great for this. I do think you would want to stick to something with a little bit more structure or stitch definition, because this is such a fun pattern. It's such a fun detail in all of the stitches and the different like cabling or whatever that is. I think you would really want that to stand out with a good strong plant fiber, maybe like a cotton and linen kind of thing. This is a $7 pattern, and what I love about this is the like flowy, ruffly, feminine touches to this top. It's just a good vibe. I love it. But it's a little bit more fancy than just like a basic tee pattern. You know, you always want to have those basics, those staples, but sometimes you just want to elevate it a little bit more and still make it look effortless and easy. And I think this is a really beautiful way to do that. This pattern would get the job done. And I also think that this is something you could dress up or dress down. I think it would be really cute with some sort of like flowy, ruffly skirt, if that's your vibe. But I think I would probably wear it more just with some jeans or maybe some shorts. And I think it would just be interesting to make. Like I said, I think the details and the different stitches would just keep you working and keep you knitting and not have you get bored like stockinette might. Now this is a fun idea that as soon as I heard that this was a thing, I was like, I need to try this. This is right up my alley for those colder months. And it is the Cottage Swancho. So it's a sweater poncho, a swancho, and it is by Olga Putano. This comes in 3 sizes, and I think it's because it's such an oversized garment that it's more of like a one size fits most kind of thing as far as the sizes go. I could be wrong. I'm not entirely sure. Don't hold me to that. But it very much is a loose, drapey, flowy poncho with sleeves. It reminds me of those blankets with sleeves. I forget what they're called. But that was definitely very trendy for a while, and it definitely gives me those vibes. Be able to just like wear your blanket, wear your poncho around the house. I love it. And this is a DK weight pattern with a gauge of 20 stitches in 4 inches in stockinette, and is worked top down in a round yoke. And of course, because it's all beautiful, beautiful color work. And it uses 4mm and 3.5mm needles. And they used a superwash merino, which totally makes sense for a sweater poncho. But for us, again, we live in Texas. It's really hot here. I don't know that I would get a lot of use. So I might opt for something maybe like a wool blend. This is an $8.50 pattern. And the color work, I think, would make this all worth it. I think the color work is gorgeous. It's what drew me to this pattern specifically. When I first saw it, besides the idea of a swancho being just like the best thing ever, I think the color work is really what sold me on this one. It is just beautiful. I love all of the details, all of the colors that they chose. I just think it is gorgeous, and I cannot wait to try and make it. So moving on to the next one on my list, I have the Moonset Pullover by Ozetta. Now this, of course, is a really popular pattern. She also has a tee version of it, I think. But I chose the pullover version for my list because I love these like drapey, oversized, cozy sweaters, especially for the fall and winter time. I live in sweatshirts, hoodies, sweaters for the entire fall and winter. As soon as it starts getting cold enough to wear those, that's all I'm wearing. So it'd be really nice to have something that I made myself that fits that description. And I have a store-bought sweater that kind of looks like this, so it would be really, really fun to make one my own. This comes in sizes extra small to 5XL, and it is a DK weight pattern with a gauge of 21 stitches in 4 inches in stockinette. And it is worked top down with drop shoulders, which is another detail that I love about this. The drop shoulders are just so cozy to me. And it uses 4.5mm and 4mm needles, and they used a cashmere. I think anything like soft and squishy like that would just be gorgeous. So cozy. I mean, of course, cashmere, again, would be like a gorgeous luxury to be able to knit this in. But I think even just a soft, silky, squishy kind of yarn would really be beautiful in this pattern. And this pattern costs $6.50. Again, I love the neckline. That V shape is one of my favorites. I love the drop shoulders. It's just so cozy. I picture myself wearing this when it's rainy outside and it's a little bit chilly. You just want to like curl up and watch some movies and drink some tea, get some knitting done. The perfect days, you know? Now this next one is not something that I'm excited to knit for myself, but it is something that I'm excited to knit for my husband, and it is the Halibut sweater by Caitlin Hunter of Boyland Knits. This is such a fun pattern. It got really popular when she released it. She has all kinds of patterns with this motif. This halibut fish, I love it. It is so funny in the best way. But this pattern comes in 10 sizes. It is a DK weight pattern with the gauge being 20 stitches in 4 inches in color work and stockinette. So I think it might be a little tricky to match those if your tension is really different for color work. And then it is worked top down circular yoke, of course, because of all the color work. And it works in 4mm and 3.7mm needles. They used wool, which of course it's this beautiful chunky sweater, and I love it. But I was talking to my husband about this, and it gets really hot here, if I haven't said that before. So I would love to make it for him in whatever yarn he picks out, and I told him, whatever you pick out, I would love that. I just want to throw that out there, that if you want a really heavy wool sweater, by all means. But if you want something that might be a little more versatile and might suit the weather here a little bit more than just a couple months out of the year, we should definitely go for maybe like a blend or even a cotton, something lighter and more airy to have him be able to wear it more than just a couple months out of the year. My husband Ben loves to fish, and so when I first showed him this, I was like, wouldn't this be so fun? And he loved it. He was so excited. So I'm really excited to make it for him. And I love that he thinks it's so great and so fun. I love this pattern. It is a $9 pattern, and the only thing that I have noticed about this that I will say is some people have said that because the yoke is so long for the color work, for the design, the sleeves and the body end up being a little bit shorter than they expected or that they wanted. So, and my husband's really tall, so I think I will definitely have to make longer sleeves and a longer body for him, which is no problem at all. I just wanted to throw that out there because I've heard a few people talk about it so far. Again, beautiful design and sweater, and I'm really excited about this. Okay, moving on to the next one. This is another one that I just am excited to knit. I don't even know if I would get a lot of wear out of this one, but it just has a hold on me that I can't explain. And it is the Forest Vibes sweater by Masha Ziablikova. And it comes in sizes small to extra large, and they used 2 strands of lace and 1 strand of DK held together, which makes an Aran weight yarn. So you could substitute for an Aran weight, but they used 2 strands of mohair and silk, and they paired that with an alpaca to get this really soft, squishy halo fabric. This is a $7 pattern, and I love it. I think that is so gorgeous. It definitely looks really cozy and squishy and just beautiful, and I love the detail on it. I think it's so gorgeous. But the gauge for this is 16 stitches in 4 inches, and it's worked bottom up in the round. and you join for the yoke. It's worked in 5mm and 4mm needles. And again, they used alpaca and mohair and silk, which I think would be gorgeous if I could find something that I really like in those materials. But I also think it's just as good to find an Aran weight yarn that I really love if I can. Whatever, I'm not picky on, you know, yarn weights. I think it's really interesting and amazing that you can substitute different yarn combinations for different yarn weights. If you use an Aran weight yarn, it's going to be chunkier, so it's going to be a little bit more structured, and you might not get a lot of that flowy, drapey look to it. I'm not even sure that I would wear this a lot. I just love this sweater. I just want to make it. This pattern just calls to me. And the last one, the 10th pattern that I have to share with you, is another blouse. It is the Paysanne blouse by Fable Knitwear. I love the way this looks. It is so gorgeous and so simple but elevated. I just love it. And this comes in sizes extra small to 2XL, and it is a fingering weight pattern with a stockinette gauge of 20 stitches in 4 inches. And this is worked from the top down and in the round, and then they used elastic to cinch up the top at the neck. And I think that creates a really nice look. I love it. It works in 4mm needles, and they used a wool or a wool blend is what they recommend. And I love, one of the yarns that they chose was a tweed yarn, and I love tweed. I think it's so cozy, and I love the texture and the look. It's just so good, so classic. But if I don't do that, I would probably even go for some sort of plant fiber. Again, maybe a good old cotton, linen. It is an $8 pattern, and again, I love the simple yet elegant look. That is definitely my style. I think it's just so classic, and I think I would also want to make this in multiple colors, you know, and just have like a really basic neutral one, but then also have a more like summery, beautiful, like light, vibrant one as well. I think it's always good to have the option for things like this where it is a more basic, simple pattern, but you can really have fun with the yarn that you choose, and I love that. Again, I want to try this neckline, this like cinched at the top neckline. I'm just really curious if I would like it. And then I also love that this is kind of cropped, but they keep it long enough to tuck into some like high-waisted trousers or pants, and I love that. I think that's creates such a nice like silhouette, or it's such a nice style. But I also think you could just leave it short enough where you don't tuck it in, but it's still that cropped length. And I think that would be really cool as well. Overall, it's beautiful. Beautiful blouse, and I would love to make it. So that is it. Those are my 10 patterns that I am dying to knit. I am so excited to get to them. Hopefully I can do that soon, but I hope you enjoyed as well. I hope you liked some of these patterns. If you did, if you have any comments, questions, recommendations, definitely let me know in the comments down below. I'd love to hear what you thought of these and any other comments that you have. And if you plan on making any of these, definitely let me know. That would be so fun. Maybe we can even make them together. Thank you so much for being here. If you liked this video, don't forget to like it and subscribe for more content from me. You can find a link down below to support me and my channel. You can buy me a cup of coffee if you would like to on Ko-fi or Ko-fi, however people say it. And you can also find me on Instagram and Ravelry. Stay in touch with me, definitely. Love to see everything everyone is up to. But thank you again for being here, and I will see you guys next time. Bye! And I hung stuff up on my wall finally. Look at it. I know you can only see part of it, but I'm really excited about it.